Hi friends, Captain Deepak here once again. Now before I go on to solve more problems of Hindship, I thought it would be best if we go through some other concepts of stability. Today we're going to talk about center of gravity, COG, KG, and what is meant by KG moments. So let's not waste more time and let's dive in right into these concepts. What is center of gravity? Now, to explain this, let me take you back to your school days. Now, a favorite time pass, not only in school, but which continued, I guess, right till we were doing masters, was to spin books on our fingertips. Oh, wow. You see the spinning book? And as you can now see, I am really getting proficient in PowerPoint, adding little animation and stuff like this to explain my concepts. Anyway, so what have we done, or what are students actually doing when they're spinning books? Quite simple. They're balancing the book and then rotating it. Now, the point at which they balance this book is what we call center of gravity. Now, if you imagine your entire ship or you replace this book with your ship, what would be the COG of the ship? It would be that point at which you could balance the entire weight of the ship. Let's look at the official, or rather the book definition of COG. And for that, let me now get this book to stop spinning. Okay, here we have it. So the official definition is the center of gravity of a ship is that point through which the force of gravity may be considered to act vertically downwards with a force equal to the ship. Okay, this is the official definition. How do you remember it? It's just that point on the book at which you balance the book. Now, if this book was unbalanced, in the sense that you add a little more weight on one side of the book, what would happen? The book is going to tip. And if you want to prevent it from tipping, what are you going to do? You're going to move your finger towards that weight and then balance the balance the book, right? So in essence, what has happened is the COG of that book has changed. And now to balance the entire thing, you need to move your finger. Let's see what this means in terms of a ship. Now, in terms of a ship, let me now get going by making a diagram of a ship. Okay, so let me go in a stepwise way, and here I am trying to make my beautiful ship. That's here. Okay, I'm sure naval architects are going to cringe at this sort of a depiction of a ship. It looks really absurd, but I guess it is good enough to sort of explain the concept. Okay, so this is your ship. Name it whatever you want. We name it MPTJ. Okay, so this is your ship, and as I said, the ship has a center of gravity. What is the center of gravity? As I said in my previous slide, something where you're going to balance the ship on. It's our book, right? We're going to balance the book, and that point is called G, which is your center of gravity. Now I said that if you cause the book to be unbalanced, if you add weights here and there, what is going to happen? So similarly, we're going to add a weight here on top, on upper deck, and now this weight is got its own center of gravity, which is the small g. So what happens to the original center of gravity? Now I told you that if you have that book and you sort of cause an imbalance, then you have to move your fingers, right? You have to move your finger to the point where it can balance it. So now in terms of the ship, you have added a weight, right? So now you need to balance it. It's not going to remain at G. So what exactly happens? So this G, your original center of gravity, will move towards the small g, the center of gravity of where the weight is loaded, and will now come to a new position which is called the G1. Now, how do we summarize this? To summarize this, when a weight is added, or in other words, loaded, the center of gravity of the ship, that is your G, moves directly towards the center of gravity of the added weight, which is small g. And let's say if it was discharged or removed, then instead of following that yellow line, it would follow a line which is totally opposite of that. It moves directly away from the big G. I hope this concept is clear. It's a very simple concept, right? You have a ship, it has its center of gravity at G. You go ahead and you load a cargo on upper deck or wherever you load a cargo, and that cargo has got a center of gravity small g. What's going to happen to your original center of gravity? It's just going to move in that direction. Just think of it as the book. If you add weight on a book, you need to balance that weight, right? You need to balance the book. What are you going to do? You're going to be moving your finger. It's the same concept here. Instead of your finger now being at G, you're moving your finger to G1. So this is the basic concept of center of gravity. Okay. Now, in the next slide, I want to actually tell you how you define this, or how do you measure this center of gravity. So how is the position of the center of gravity indicated? Now, if you imagine a three-dimensional world, right? Three axes, X, Y, and Z. So the center of gravity also is referenced by three such lines. So if you take the keel, okay, so you can actually say the first reference of the center of gravity is its height above keel. So this is called kg, where of course k represents the keel. Now, if you have to take the position of G from the after perpendicular, then this is called AG, or in other words, it's called the longitudinal center of gravity. And what if it is from your center line, which means if it is to your port or starboard. So if it's right at your center line, you're not going to be listed. But if it's going to be on your port side or on your starboard side, then your vessel is going to be listing. So in essence, you have three references for getting this position of G. So you have kg, which is from the keel, then you have the longitudinal center of gravity, and then you have a reference from your center line. So it's either going to be port or starboard or right at the center line. So this is the concept of positioning of COG, and in fact what I wanted to actually tell in this video is about kg, which is the height above the keel. Now moving on to the next concept, which is moment. Now in physics, moment is the force. The moment of a force is a measure of its tendency to cause a body to rotate about a specific point or axis. Okay, I don't know if people are getting confused. It's quite similar to torque, but it's not torque. Torque is rotational motion. So it's different. Moment and torque are different. But if you see what is moment is about a specific axis, whereas torque is rotational. But you can sort of correlate these concepts. So what is moment? Moment is the force into the distance. Now if you take it in terms of a ship or a cargo loaded, this force is actually the weight. And this distance, what is the distance? This distance is the distance measured from the keel. So the final moment of a ship is equal to the final displacement of the ship. And what is our reference point? Our reference point is keel. So this distance is going to be called the final kg. I hope it was not too confusing or I was able to explain this concept, but in summary, this is what it is. Final moment is equal to final W into final kg. How we use it in problems, of course, I will tell you in my further videos. But this is, in essence, this is the summary. You have a ship, you have a center of gravity G, okay? So the moment is the displacement of the ship into that distance kg. Now, if you load a small cargo, okay, that small cargo is also having a moment. So what is that equal to? The moment of that cargo. It's equal to the weight of that cargo and the distance from the keel to the center of gravity of that particular cargo. Okay, I hope that I've not made it too confusing, but in any case, if it's got too confusing, then just let me know and I'll try and probably explain it with one more video or probably make this video better. Anyway, let me know your comments. Okay, now just to do a recap of what all we have covered in today's video, because we've covered quite a few concepts. I hope the concept of center of gravity is clear. What is center of gravity? Just think of the book. You're going to balance the book on one point. That is the center of gravity. Take the concept to a ship. So the ship has a center of gravity, which is the G. What happens to COG when a weight is loaded or discharged? Okay, imagine the book. You're going to you're going to add some weight on the book. What do you need to do? You need to move your finger to balance the book. Similarly, what's going to happen if you're going to load on a ship? The center of gravity G is going to move to a new position G1, right? And if a weight is discharged, then it's going to move in the opposite direction. How is the COG measured? I've told you about the three reference lines. It's like three axes. Okay, you have it from the keel, you have it from your after perpendicular, and you have it from the center line of the vessel. And lastly, what is final moment? Final moment is your final displacement into the final kg of the vessel. Now in the next video, I'll take up concepts of GM, KM, and FSC. Do let me know if you've understood these concepts and sorry, and if there are still doubts, then just let me know and let's see whether I can make this video better or I can explain in the comments section or something like that. But it's quite important that we understand these concepts because we are going to use these concepts in our future problems. So I hope it was clear. So till I make my next video, thanks and